What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Check out the content. And in this video, I want to talk about Rich Paul and how, in my opinion, Rich Paul is basically to the point of not just being negligent, but is malpractice, right? And so, just imagine if you go to the doctor and you get stitches, and once you maybe get stitches for a cut or something like that, and once you leave the hospital and you maybe the stitches break open, right? That's hard. It's hard then to sue the doctor for malpractice. Like if the stitches bust open and then the cut or something get infected, that's different. That's some people say, well, that's not malpractice. That could happen. That just come with the territory. But just imagine having surgery, and this is a true case. Just imagine having surgery, and a doctor mistakenly leave like a clamp, or so, like they open you up and they leave like one of those clamps inside you, right? And this happened before. Like a young lady got home and she was experiencing some discomfort and some pain. She went back to the hospital and she found out that the doctor left like one of the surgical tools that they used on her to operate. They mistakenly left that inside of her and sewed her up. And so when they did the like what it was, an X-ray, they did an X-ray and they could see inside of her was a tool. Now that's definite malpractice, right? You definitely can she definitely had a argument and a case right there. It was open and shut, right? And so I think the same thing could be said about Rich Paul. When you think about the things that Rich Paul do and how they affect not only LeBron James but the rest of his clients, right? And so now a negligent agent isn't just they're not just slipping, right? They're abandoning their job. When a person is paid to protect the client's interest, stop doing the bare minimum, it becomes a blatant uh, betrayal of responsibilities, right? And in my opinion, that's what Rich Paul has done, right? Because his number one priority as a agent should be to enhance the brand, number one, of his client, LeBron James, and everybody else that he represents. That should be number one. And he's not doing that. Number two, he should really be, like controlling the narrative around his clients, and he's done really, in my opinion, a poor job about that. Not only just for LeBron James, but for the rest of his clients. Like he's not really controlling the narrative when it comes to clients like Tyrese Maxey or clients like Anthony Davis. He only really bring those clients up if it's in relation to LeBron James. So he's not only is he failing LeBron James, but he's failing other clients, right? Because he's so much invested in putting LeBron James out, in front of the media, that he's definitely neglecting the rest of the clients that he have, right? And so that's a way that he could be, like people could say, well, that's malpractice because that's basic. You know what I mean? That's a basic job duty of an agent, like Rich Paul. Then let me see, opportunities destroyed, like negligence don't just they create missed chances and they kill opportunities and deals, right? Again, because Rich Paul is not really to me, like he operates like he's still selling t-shirts out of out of the trunk. That's how LeBron James met him. Or that's what he was doing when LeBron James first met him. He was like a guy who was just selling t-shirts out of the trunk of his car, right? And that's cool for where he was at then. But now you're managing a guy in LeBron James, who's one of the most famous athletes in the world. LeBron James is worth over, like they say like around 1.5 billion or 1.4 billion, somewhere in that neighborhood. And you can't represent LeBron James like you are selling t-shirts out of a trunk of a car. You gotta really step your game up. And he is just so focused, in my opinion. He's just so much more focused on trying to control the narrative and put these different speeches and stuff out there, which really make him look weak. And then if he look weak, then that creates the same perception for his clients. So when people see him on a podcast and he's saying things that are so controversial, and he's somebody who's polarizing, that's not the image as an agent that you want for yourself or your client. And that's why it's important that as an agent, he really do most of his work should be getting done in the boardroom, not sitting on a panel of a talk show or doing a podcast, right? Because his public image is so tied into his clients that he has to make sure that he put forth an image where he is just like basically squeaky clean. And it's hard to do that. Like, the more you're in the public eye, the harder it is to do that, because people scrutinize everything you say. They twist what you say. And so it's best not to be, like, take for instance, like, for the most part, you don't know who Magic Johnson agent was. You don't know who Larry Bird, like a lot of professional basketball players, you don't know their agents, you don't know their representatives. And if you do know their agent or their representative, they don't really speak publicly that often, right? Like I say, they take care of most of what they have to take care of in the boardrooms, they're behind the scenes making deals, right? Because publicly, you want your client to be the face. And also, you want your client to have a certain image, and for him to be a agent and not recognize this and not take advantage of that, in my opinion, is just malpractice. Basically, it's business malpractice. And so that's where you get to the point where you have like broken trust. Negligence signals one thing: an agent cares more about themselves than the client. And so you have to question that, right? When you see a client who, I mean, an agent who's so public and making so many different statements and have a talk show, it makes it seem like he's trying to develop his own brand outside of his client's brand. Again, that's not his job. That's malpractice, right? And so for LeBron James to have given Rich Paul this opportunity, you know, some, you know, even though he is connected to LeBron James, you still have to, as a man, you have to make a way and make a name for yourself. You just can't go into every business deal saying, well, that's your leverage. LeBron James is my leverage. LeBron James' name get me in this room. LeBron James' name will get me these deals. And that's not going to work all the time. Especially, remember, LeBron James is getting close to retiring. So the closer LeBron James get to retiring, the less, because he's up in age as a basketball player, the less leverage he had. So by this point in the game, Rich Paul should be skilled enough to be able to and to be able to make some things happen, as far as like, where he don't have to rely on LeBron James's name or his leverage. They should be relying on Rich Paul's knowledge of how to manage an athlete. And that's not it. Every time, like I said, the name LeBron James can get him into certain rooms, but if he don't know how to navigate in these different rooms, then that don't make him look good, and it definitely don't make LeBron James look good. And so, uh, and in the business world, a lot of these guys are like sharks, and if they can sense that you don't know what you're doing, and you're negligent, if they could sense that you are, as an agent, you're like the weakest link in that organization, then they'll come after you, and they'll set you up to be the fall guy. And LeBron James as a client will suffer because of that. And so you know, LeBron James, like I said, he's getting closer to retirement. A lot of the things that's going on with LeBron James, like as far as like, you know, they're trying to, you know, figure out what team he's going to go to and all this other stuff. He should not even really be in this position, right? LeBron James should be in a position where he's on a team. He is like the because it's all about image. He should be on a team. He should be like seen as the wily old veteran, a locker room guy, and a guy who is, you know, is helping to pass his knowledge on to the next generation. And why is that important? Because it makes him look like he cared for the game, and it endears him to the fan base, right? Because the more the fan base love him, the more he can tap into that fan base later on as leverage. But LeBron James is going out more so as polarizing than he is beloved. And you don't want that because, like I said, it just takes away from the leverage that LeBron James will have going into business meetings and things like that, right? And so Rich Paul should know these things. And Rich Paul, you know, as a agent, um, it, I don't know. I just think it's malpractice on Rich Paul's fault on his behalf because he's not really doing LeBron James any justice with the way he is representing LeBron James. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.